Another massive injury boost ahead of the business end of the season. Manchester United's centre-back summer targets revealed, and controversy over the Mason Mount summer signings. These are some of the topics we will be discussing on this morning's show. But before we get into that, please smash a like on today's video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let's get straight on into it. So as always, I like to start the show off with some positivity. So the positive news I've got for you guys this morning is that apparently Lisandro Martinez will be back available in the first team for the Brentford game, which I believe is on the 30th of March. That might be incorrect, but I think it's correct. 30th of March. That's our next Premier League game. Obviously, we play Liverpool on Sunday in the FA Cup quarter-final. And then our next Premier League fixture is against Brentford away from home. And yes, it is an 8 p.m. kickoff on the 30th of March. And the headline this morning is this. It says, Lisandro Martinez will be with the Argentina squad next week. Apparently, he's going to go and travel to America with the Argentinian national team because obviously we've got a 2-week international break, I think it is next week. Apparently, then he's going to come back. He's going to be available to start, and apparently he'll be able to start against Brentford on the 30th of March. So really, really happy about that. I think we've really missed Lisandro Martinez. You know, we saw last season, I know people don't like comparing to other clubs, but you saw Arsenal last year, should have won the title. They lose Saliba, and then they bottled it. You know, so you can't underestimate the importance of someone like Lisandro Martinez. And when you think that at the moment, our first choice back four last season was Luke Shaw, Varane, Martinez, and Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka's been injured all season. Luke Shaw's been injured all season. Martinez has been injured all season. Like, our defensive structure is an absolute mess. It is. And I don't think you can really blame Erik ten Hag for that because, you know, it's not his fault that all of these players are injured. And I do think our season would have gone very differently if we had, you know, Luke Shaw, Martinez, Varane, and I know Dallow's done well this season, but obviously Wan-Bissaka was the first choice for most of the second half of last season, wasn't he? So yeah, really, really happy to see Martinez back. I think it's a massive boost for Man United. Let me know in the comment section, do you think, Martinez is going to come in and make all the difference? The one thing I will say is this. I know it's a positive and I'm really happy that he's back, but is it too little too late? I'll tell you this, right? If we beat Liverpool on Sunday, then great. I think Martinez coming back is massive. That sees us then going for a trip to Wembley in the semi-final. And we know that this team will be motivated to try and win the FA Cup because obviously we came so close last season. But in relation to the Premier League, I personally think 4th or 5th is done for us. Even with Martinez coming back, you know, we're 8 points off Aston Villa at the moment, and we will be 9 points off Tottenham if they win their game in hand, which they've got on us. So it's going to be almost impossible, I think, to get top 4. And as it stands at the moment, I know, like, at the beginning of the season, we wouldn't be happy with this, but if we were to finish 6th and get Europa League football, I think it probably is our level at the moment. And I think Manchester United need some form of European football. So I think 6th is now, in my opinion, the kind of bare minimum that we need to get. If we went and got 4th or 5th, that would be an incredible achievement, but I just don't personally see it happening. We're on 47 points. There's 10 games left. I honestly think we'd have to win probably 9 out of 10 fixtures to get top 4 now, in my opinion. Last season, top 4 was 71 points. We're on 47. So if we were to get top 4 based on how many points it needed last season, we'd need about another 24 points. And I just think that there isn't enough games for us to do that. Mathematically, there is. But whether we can do it or not, I don't know. Based on that, right, for us to finish on 71 points, which was how much Newcastle had last season, we'd have to win 8 out of the last 10 games. And there's no guarantee we even get top 4 then. That's just based on last season's top 4 point totals. So for me personally, I think it's a little bit too little too late for the Premier League. And I think now the expectation has to be to finish 6th and to play some good football in the last 10 games. And I think, us going into the Europa League next season, I think we'd then be favourites to win that. And I would be confident and expecting us to go and, do well in the Europa League. Obviously, I know the Champions League is what we all want, but realistically, we're not at the level at the moment to be in that competition and we don't deserve to be in it. So for me, 6th place and hopefully win the FA Cup. Anyway, let's move on with the rest of the show. This section of the show, I wanted to focus on the centre-back position at Manchester United because there are so many names being linked to Man United at the moment. Obviously, you've got people like Jean-Claire Todibo. You've got Jared Brathwaite from Everton. You've also got Gleeson Bremer from Juventus. So I'm going to go through all of the different news we have at the moment in relation to the centre-back positions. So the first story we have coming out from Pete Hall, who is a journalist for Sky Sports and Reuters, and he says, Man United have made signing a centre-back a top priority in the summer, with Juventus defender Gleeson Bremer high on their wish list, alongside Everton's Jared Brathwaite. So what I want you guys to do now, right, is I want you to let me know in the comment section who your preferred option is at centre-back, okay? So the names that we're currently linked to as of today are Jean-Claire Todibo, Gleeson Bremer from Juventus, Jared Brathwaite from Everton. Those are kind of the main three that we're being heavily linked to. Now, there is a bit of a story coming out about Jean-Claire Todibo. Apparently, this is coming from Ben Jacobs. He is reporting that Man United are concerned by Nice's 47 to 51 million pound asking price for Jean-Claire Todibo. It says that Manchester United will not receive a discount from Nice for the centre-back, despite being also owned by Ineos. It says United don't see that price as being very good value for money. And I would agree with that, you know. £51 million for Jean-Claire Todibo is, in my opinion, absolutely ridiculous. That is a crazy amount of money. For a player that, I know he came through the Barcelona Youth Academy, effectively didn't make it at Barcelona. He's 25 this year. He's never won a trophy in his career. He's playing in the French league at the moment. And I don't think he's that good to be worth £51 million for me personally. I think £30 million tops, somewhere around that kind of mark, would be like a reasonable amount of money for him. I think 51 is Man United getting their pants pulled down like we always do. And when you consider, that we're supposedly owned by the same person and that's the kind of type of money they're asking for, I think it's ridiculous. Now, when we spoke about a couple of months ago, Nice were doing really well in the French league, but they're not doing very well anymore. They're now in 6th place. So as it stands, Nice would get no European football. They've lost 4 out of the last 5 games in the French league. I think the fans are turning against them. So for me personally, I don't think he's worth anywhere near that. He's playing for a side who are struggling in the French league, aren't even in the European positions anymore. And yeah, as I said, have lost 4 of their last 5 games. And I think I read the other day, apparently he's had a falling out with the fans. The fans are saying, if you don't want to be here, then leave. And it's getting all a little bit toxic over at Nice. So for me personally, I don't think Jean-Claire Todibo is the best option at this moment in time. I think Jared Brathwaite would be a really interesting option. I think he's really got high potential. Obviously, there is the chance that Everton get relegated as well, which would obviously mean he'd be available for a lot less than what they probably want. 21 years of age, obviously English. And I think that Man United and Ineos are wanting to build this English-British spine at Manchester United. Whether or not that's the correct decision, we'll have to wait and see. But I think Jared Brathwaite would be an interesting option. Obviously, he was out on loan in the Dutch league last season at PSV. He did really well. So yeah, I mean, if we could get Jared Brathwaite for around 30-40 million pounds, I think that would be an incredible deal. So for me, as it stands, I would quite like to see Jared Brathwaite. But as I said, let me know in the comment section, who would you like to see as the new centre-back in the summer window? Moving on to the midfield, we've got a bit of an update on a new central midfielder that apparently Man United are heavily scouting. So this is coming out from Chris Wheeler, and he is reporting that Manchester United had a scout at the 2-2 draw between Juventus and Atalanta in Turin on Sunday. It says Brazilian midfielder Ederson is thought to be of particular interest to Manchester United. So Ederson, 24 years of age, central midfielder, Brazilian. He joined Atalanta in 2022 for a fee of around 21 million euros. He can play as a CDM. He can play as a centre mid. Looks like a really, really good player. Very, very strong. Good on the ball. I quite like this guy. I think he'd be an interesting option. Do I think he's world class? Probably not. Is he much better than Fred? Probably not, personally. But I think he's, a decent player. A good squad player, I would say. I don't think he's good enough to be a first-team player for Man United, personally, from what I've seen of him. But obviously, we have to wait and see what happens with that one. But let me know what you guys think about Ederson in the comments section below. Would you like to see him at Manchester United? Or is there somebody else, Maybe we go back in for Frankie de Jong. Let me know what your thoughts are. And then the final story we've got this morning is coming from Samuel Luckhurst, Manchester Evening News. And it's about Mason Mount. The story is this: the Manchester United are adamant that they saved £10 million on Mason Mount Liverpool and Arsenal were both interested in signing the midfielder, and Jurgen Klopp touched base with him in January. Mikel Arteta had reportedly told his close confidence a deal was all but done for him to join Arsenal. Now, the reason this story has come out is that apparently some players have leaked some information to the press saying that apparently Mason Mount was not a sport signing. He was, I guess, a brand signing. I don't know. I just think it's a little bit pathetic, to be honest. Like, who are these people leaking these stories and what are they trying to achieve? My guess is that it will be people who aren't being picked to play. It will be people who are bitter about certain things and they're trying to cause, a stir, trying to make Erik ten Hag look bad, trying to, rustle some feathers. And it doesn't work with me, personally. It doesn't. Mason Mount, maybe he wasn't the right player to sign, but I do think he was bought for sporting reasons. We know that Erik ten Hag likes him. We know that he's wanted him ever since he was on loan in the Dutch league many, many seasons ago. So I don't really see what these United players are trying to do by leaking stories saying that, Mason Mount was only bought for brand reasons and not for sporting reasons. And I think, being honest, it's just them trying to disrupt things. And I'm not here for it. I don't rate it. And I think whoever these players are need to stop doing it. Yeah, it's just frustrating, isn't it? It really, really is. These players still think that this is an all right behaviour to be leaking stuff and to effectively, in my opinion, be spreading false narratives just to, cause some trouble. And I really don't like it. I just think it's very unnecessary. But I'm going to wrap the show up here, guys. Thank you so much to everyone who's joined me on the show this morning. If you have enjoyed the video, please smash a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. This has been Daily Red Devil, and I'll speak to you all a bit later.